What do you think the Minnesota Wild do from here? I know we teased the R word, rebuild, but it's starting to feel a little bit more like that, maybe getting these younger guys, getting these lesser known players, getting these players that are going to need development, knowing that you do have these prospects in Boldy and Rossi and Addison and a couple other of those Iowa guys down there, Kyle Rao coming back. But would you call this more of a rebuild than we did last year? I mean, last year, Bill Guerin made some bigger moves, got some bigger names, some veteran experience, and this year just has a different vibe to it.
I'm still hesitant to call it a rebuild, and maybe this is just because of the way I perceive the definition of rebuild. But whenever I think of a team rebuilding, I think of getting rid of the top talent to bring in new guys who are going to pave the way. And because the Wild haven't necessarily sold all this top talent, yes, they got rid of Ryan Suter and Zach Parise with the buyout, but that was writing on the wall with that one. So I don't think that you can define that as entirely surprising or, the start of a rebuild. Those guys were towards the end of their careers. Now, if you start getting rid of big name players, like if they weren't to re-sign Joel Eriksson Ek, or if they get rid of Kevin Fiala, or, if they start getting rid of some of these pieces that have been, part of the mainstay of this team in recent years, then I look at it as a rebuild. I am questioning a little bit what is going on because there's still so many questions of like, okay, we still need this on the team. And if we want this, we have to get rid of all of this. And then would that constitute this as a rebuild? And I'm nervous because the Wild still need to sign Kirill Kaprizov. And that is going to be the staple of this Minnesota Wild team. If you get him on, it depends on how many years is he going to be here. Okay, that defines how many years you have to get all of these pieces to make this a Stanley Cup contending team, because guess what? Kirill Kaprizov won't sign again if they don't get the right pieces at the end of the second contract. So
imagine that he wants to play with, it's like me and Alexis. Like if Alexis' talent sucked, I wouldn't come back. I wouldn't resign.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why Fred
She'd
gets
find
fired
a new
every
co-host.
week.
Yeah, exactly. So, and again, I've said this a million times. I don't blame Kirill Kaprizov's mindset for wanting to be a part of a Stanley Cup contending team. The kid is damn good. He wants to win a Stanley Cup. That's what you do when you come into the NHL. So I don't feel bad. I don't get upset about that he wants to win. Yes, the thought of losing Kirill Kaprizov gives me goosebumps. I want to cry. It haunts my thoughts every single day that this guy could not be on this team in 3, 4, 5 years. But I want to see what the Wild do with him before I decide if this is a rebuild or not, because I think if you only sign him to a short-term deal, then I think you're looking at more of a rebuild, because you got to do this quickly. You got to flip these pieces and you got to get this team moving in the right direction. If you get him to a longer term deal, which it looks like that's probably not going to be the case unless we have some kind of a Hail Mary that we can land a good deal with him. You have more time to work with.
And that's how you get it done.
So I want to see what the Wild do here before I decide if I think this is a rebuild or not. I'm kind of in between right now. Like it seems like it could be leaning that way, but they also haven't done enough of the big things yet that in my mind constitute a rebuild for me to call it that. What about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I go back and forth on it because I don't feel like it's a full teardown, right? Like it's not what Chicago did. It's not what New York did. It does feel different, as I mentioned, like from last year. I felt like last year the pieces were there. I'm not fully convinced, and this might be my cold take, I think it's a hot one. I'm not fully convinced this team is any better than the one that we had last year. I mean, granted, last year the Wild had very low expectations, so for them to exceed that was pretty easy. But I'm not, looking at the roster, I'm like, have they done enough to really change it and to make that second round push? I mean, is there enough? And frankly, I hate to say regret. Do you now regret losing a guy like Ryan Suter and having that buyout? Or are you going to miss a guy like Zach Parise or Ian Cole or Nick Bonino, some of those guys that are not coming back? I mean, again, rebuild, you're probably right. Harsh word, but it just definitely feels a little different.